Help support the show by joining the Patreon or becoming a YouTube member. Also, hit that like button and subscribe if you want more Browns-focused content. All right. I usually abide by a rule, especially in years where it looks like the Browns are going to be competitive. Now, this is not one of those years where the Browns are going to be competitive, or at least I anticipate them being competitive. I am really willing to be surprised, but not going to go into the season expecting a competitive season. That's unfortunate. But it does free me up to talk more honestly about the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yeah, I know. Pittsburgh fans are going to see this video and remind me that the Browns quarterback situation is poo-poo and that the Browns probably not going to win that many games. Sure, that is all true. Doesn't change how I feel about your team, though. And the truth is, with the Pittsburgh Steelers, I see a team in crisis. And I have to ask this question. Are the Pittsburgh Steelers okay? I know that whenever you talk about Pittsburgh, the main comeback is going to be, outside of the stuff I already mentioned earlier, is that the Steelers are going to go 500 at least. They're going to go above 500. They always go above 500. They don't go like 8-9 a lot or 9-8 a lot, but they go above 500. They win 10 games. They go above 500. They always overperform. In some years, you can see why that could happen. The defense was underrated. Some of the young pieces at wide receiver really stepped up. No, they didn't have much at quarterback, but they were able to play a physical brand of football that was able to get them ahead of the sticks on a consistent basis. Is that the Pittsburgh Steelers team we're looking at today, though? Like, is this Pittsburgh Steelers team much like the bulk of those teams that have gone over 500 despite all of the circumstances in the world? I don't really think so. This isn't a super veteran-laden team. The core of this team is the defense. And look, I know Steelers fans going to be mad at me when I say this, but baby, it's the truth. TJ Watt been falling more and more ineffective as every year has gone on by a significant margin each year, right? His pressure to sack rate, well, his pressure to sack rate has dropped significantly over the last 2 years. He is simply not as effective play to play as he was in 2022 and 2021 when he won those Defensive Player of the Year awards. That is not the TJ Watt we're talking about. This TJ Watt is starting to decline a little bit, and it's been happening for a couple of years. Cam Hayward is older. They really haven't found the kind of consistency with that second edge rushing position that I think they wanted to. They thought they had it with Highsmith, but he's been inconsistent. And then they've made moves with like Nick Herbig, and then they've drafted even more edges since then. They're clearly not happy with that position. The linebacker room, it's fine, right? It's serviceable. You got Pat Queen in there. He was all right last year. You got Peyton Wilson doing a lot of coverage for a man who has less knee cartilage than prime Brandon Roy right now. Like, it is what it is with him. And then like Minkah Fitzpatrick, who was really good 3-4 years ago, but they just simply cannot figure out how to use him effectively. And Joey Porter Jr., who everybody had pegged to be a superstar corner last year, is kind of just hit a wall. He's pretty good. He's not like shut down or anything. And that's the core of this team. Like, and look, I might be wrong. Pittsburgh might be an excellent team this year, and people are going to be mad at me all season because I doubted them, whatever it is. And I doubted the Mike Tomlin devil magic. But really, like, I look at that team and I think to myself, like, that's not a team that's going to withstand 17 games defensively. And again, the Pittsburgh Steelers' identity and the reason why Pittsburgh has been able to be above 500 has always been about the physical brand of football that they play and their ability to just wear down teams that might be a little bit more talented than them, right? Pittsburgh has always had a couple of things going for themselves: their physicality and their competence. They've been a very competent football team, and I say this all the time: competence wins more games than you think in the NFL. right? If you just simply play competently, you will win more games than you play. Well, not more games than you play, but more games than not, right? You'll be above 500. That's what competence brings to the table. But I don't look at this Steelers defense and think that they have the tapestry of veteran players to be able to provide the same level of competence that they've always been able to provide. Also, when it comes to the physicality on the defensive side of the ball, I look at that same tapestry and don't see enough physicality. They're just not as physical anymore. They're not as dominant defensively, and they're not as they don't have as many veterans in their prime as they've had the last couple of years. And I think all of that leads up to a defense is probably going to not be amazing, maybe solid, pretty good at times, maybe have some hot stretches, right, where they look like the best defense in the NFL, but then they're going to have some pretty cold periods where they're not very good. And that brings me to this offense with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I'm surprised more people aren't asking the questions about what the hell the Pittsburgh Steelers are doing. One, the Broderick Jones pick. They still believe in him? It don't feel like they still believe in Broderick Jones. You remember that. They drafted Broderick Jones super early in the draft. Doesn't feel like they really believe in that selection. They haven't really committed to putting him in a position to kind of sink or swim. And this is going to be year 3 for Broderick Jones. Like, you can say what you want about Jed Wills, but by the time Jed Wills was in his 3rd year, he was a 3-year starter at left tackle. In 2 of those years, he was on the 2 of the best offensive lines in football that year. So that Broderick Jones pick don't even look like it's working out at a Jed Wills level. Then you have their quarterback position, which is likely going to be Aaron Rodgers. Probably by the time this video drops, or a week after this video, by the time you're seeing this, Aaron Rodgers is likely signed with the Pittsburgh Steelers. But is that really moving the needle? Aaron Rodgers is like 41 years old. Is he 42? He might be older than 41. He might be older than 41 by the time the season ends. Look, I've talked enough about how old Joe Flacco is and how that means we can't rely on Joe Flacco. Now, again, Aaron Rodgers, Joe Flacco, different beast. But still, 42 years old, man. Like, with the only quarterback who's reliably played at a high level in his mid-40s is Tom Brady. And God bless Tom Brady, right? One of the greatest quarterbacks that ever played. Aaron Rodgers has always been below Tom Brady. He's not Tom. Right? Like, he's just not Tom. He's good. He's really damn good. A Hall of Famer for sure. He ain't Tom, though. Right? And that's fair. So to have the same expectation that he could play just as long as Tom did is crazy. Right? So what is Aaron going to be? Last year, the Jets were worse with Aaron Rodgers than they were with Zach Wilson, record-wise. Why are we just assuming you plug Aaron Rodgers in, shit gets better? It didn't get better for the Jets. It didn't get better for the Packers. They let Aaron Rodgers go. So, like, we're just assuming Aaron Rodgers is going to fix everything. By the way, you've gotten way older on offense because you traded for DK Metcalf, gave him a $35 million extension while also, shipping off George Pickens, which I understand why you made those moves, but still not great. Like, yeah, DK, I think he's better, more reliable than George Pickens, but he's also about to be 30. Let me double check that. That don't feel right. DK about to be 30. I feel like he just got to the league. Hold on. Oh, yeah, he's 27. Scratch that. Okay, he's 27. He's got a long ways to go till he's 30. But you got older at wide receiver, which advances your timeline for a team that nobody realistically believes is going to come anywhere close to winning a championship, right? Like, you got to hope that Pittsburgh, puts themselves in a position within the next couple of years to reset at quarterback. But then by the time you're doing that, DK Metcalf going to be like 29 years old, making $45 million on that last year of the deal. $41 million, not $45 million in the last year of DK's deal, right? So I say all of this to make this point. If this team had a different coach than Mike Tomlin, if this team had a different name than the Pittsburgh Steelers, would we be looking at this as a guaranteed 10-win football team? Like, we're letting the Mike Tomlin never goes under 500 do a lot of lifting for the last 3 years, and it's held up. But at some point, the dam burst. Is this the year that the dam burst? We know Pittsburgh has been notorious with drama over the last 10 years, right? It's literally a meme. The days of our Steelers since like 2016. The drama has been consistent. Every year, there's drama with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And we're thinking we're going to include Aaron Rodgers into this room and just no drama's going to happen? Like it's going to be drama-free? You can like Aaron Rodgers and not have an issue with how Aaron carries himself, but even the most ardent Aaron Rodgers diehard has to admit, he be bringing drama. Like, that's what he does. He did it all last season. It destroyed the Jets' year, even though he played decently, right? Statistically speaking, at least. And we're bringing this guy into the drama farm that is the Pittsburgh Steelers, and we're like, yeah, that's going to work out. Mike Tomlin's going to figure it out. Mike Tomlin hasn't figured out drama in 10 years. He's had to just trade away George Pickens because of drama. And this is the dude that's going to handle the drama. How does Mike Tomlin have the reputation for handling the drama when he's not handled drama in 10 years? It's fascinating to me. It's fascinating to me how much you would get credit for stuff if people just say it enough without really thinking about it. But this is what Mike Tomlin gets credit for, right? He's the drama guru. He got more drama coming out of his locker room every year than a reality TV show, right? Like every year, it feel like a reality TV show in Pittsburgh. We talking about he ain't got no drama. He gonna deal with the drama. He gonna deal with Aaron Rodgers. Okay, yeah, sure. They said the same thing about Robert Saleh. He was gonna handle it. Now Robert Saleh is somebody's defensive coordinator. All I'm saying is, it feels like there's some combustible elements in this season for the Pittsburgh Steelers that nobody's talking enough about. It feels like people are just kind of rolling on the benefit of the doubt without evaluating it. And my question is, have you evaluated it? And do you actually think the Steelers are okay? I don't think they're okay. Now, quiet as kept, this would be a good year for the Steelers not to have a great record, right? There's going to be quarterbacks in this draft. It'd be a good year to luck out and actually stink, right? The next 2 years, 2026, 27, there's going to be quarterbacks in those two draft classes for sure. There's going to be like 4 starters at least that come out of those draft classes combined. And that's at least. That's what we could tell right now. Who knows who emerges over the college football season. So, okay, not a bad year to stink if you're going to stink 26 or 27. But, man, it's got to be coming soon, right? Like, I can't be the only one who feels this way. So that's the question I want to ask y'all. Is Pittsburgh actually okay? Or are we just kind of giving them the benefit of the doubt because they just don't usually implode? But hey, we said the same thing about Greg Popovich and the Spurs, and then, you know, they went from a playoff streak to a playoff drought pretty quick. Pretty quick. Like, these streaks aren't concrete. Sometimes these streaks are just a matter of coincidence, stacked up over time. And eventually, coincidence stop happening. Could that be the case with Pittsburgh? It's not a law that they got to go over 500. I think we should evaluate if they're actually going to be a 500 team and if this is a football team that you would have a lot of faith in if they weren't the Pittsburgh Steelers and coached by Mike Tomlin. And then also, we should really reevaluate the assumptions we make because of those two things. Mike Tomlin's record has not been spotless over the last 10 years. The Pittsburgh Steelers, not really been a serious championship contender recently, even with big men. So why do we give them the reputation that we give like Andy Reid, somebody who's won multiple championships, been to multiple Super Bowls, when Mike Tomlin ain't been to a Super Bowl since 2011 or 2010. Aaron Rodgers was in his prime. That's how long ago it was he was in the Super Bowl. That's my thoughts, y'all. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Peace.